What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Off the Top Rope, Off the Mic Sports Network. Here is your SummerSlam Sunday review. I'll say this. When SummerSlam Sunday was good, it was really good. But there were moments, specifically, I'd say match 3 and 4 on this show, which was Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch, and then obviously Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. The middle of this show was pretty damn bad. When it was bad, it was bad. And dare I say, I think the two worst matches over this entire weekend were probably on this show on Sunday. Like so listen, I did not have on my bingo card that Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria might have been a worse match than Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. I did not have that on my bingo card. I did not have the women's tag match being considered a better match than Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. It was a fine match from what it was. But given the high expectations of what I expect from those two women, it was a stinker. The match did not click. The spots didn't connect. They botched some stuff. They had a zip tie spot. I don't know why they did that. And then the zip ties broke and Lyra had to sell it for literally 5 minutes. Like, it was way too overproduced. And it really hurt the quality of the match. And then on top of it, the wrong person won. That was the biggest thing with, the two matches that I really referenced, matches 3 and 4 on this show, which was the Women's Intercontinental Championship match and then the Steel Cage match for the U.S. Championship. To me, both had the wrong winners. Both had flat finishes. And, in my, one of them was overproduced. And then the other one was in a steel cage and was really underproduced in my eyes. So when this show was good, it was really good. Opening match, Naomi, Io, and Rhea was fantastic. It wasn't what, the same match with Bianca was at WrestleMania, but it was great. And the right person won in my eyes. TLC match was fucking chaos. One of the great matches and one of the great spot fests I've ever seen in WWE. I think they killed 10 tables in that match. The wrong team won, but I don't care because I had a blast watching that match. And then when you get to these two matches, overproduced a lot, and especially, match placement really hurt this show, really hurt across two nights. I think some of these matches would have maybe been beneficial if they would have been less produced or more produced and been on a different night. I think Becky and Lyra is the prime example of that, going right after the TLC match. Solo and Jacob, I don't know what the fuck they were doing with that match. AJ and Dom is not going to get talked about nearly as much as it should, considering it followed two really bad matches in the grand scheme of things. And then it delivers on the Eddie Guerrero, the spots there for Eddie Guerrero, AJ's gear, the low rider, a lot of the callbacks to some of Eddie's signature spots, the fake lie, cheat, and steal thing, the boot spot. Like, there was some good stuff here. And then I've already talked about it on the channel. The main event was so much better than what the WrestleMania match between Cody Rhodes and John Cena was. It was almost like a fucking middle finger to, it was just a middle finger to, TKO and everybody for botching that John Cena heel turn. And they tried to undo it in the best way that they possibly could. So, all right, so let's dive into this really quickly and sort of take you through some of the highlights of some of this show. So, Naomi, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky opens up the show. I thought it was really cool that Naomi got a special entrance with her father shredding on the guitar. That was really cool. Good for Naomi. I think it's awesome the way she's been presented as a heel. Naomi was dominant, and she, this whole thing, they were trying to make her be this chicken shit heel. She looked like she belonged and was dominating the early portions of this match. And then Io and Rhea, really took over the latter stages of the match. So Rhea gets a headbutt in. She hits an avalanche riptide from the top rope. And Naomi gets back into the ring after she was taken out. And she rolls up Rhea, grabs the tights, which doesn't matter. And Naomi retains the championship here in 16 minutes. This was awesome. Like I said, not quite what Bianca, Io, and Rhea generated in that Mania Sunday opener earlier this year. Naomi's fucking great. I don't know what they're gonna do at Clash in Paris between Naomi and Stephanie Vaquer. It's going to be a very compelling match because you can make a case for both of those women winning that match. I think Stephanie's awesome. I think she absolutely deserves to be a champion in WWE, but Naomi is killing this heel gimmick. Proceeding with caution, she's over. She feels rejuvenated. She's getting all of the love that she did not get throughout her entire career. This is a defining year for Naomi. So we need to proceed with caution for the rest of the year about doubting Naomi. Let's to put no pun intended. Then we get so a lot of people in the stadium. Tyrese Halliburton on his crutch was there. He got booed. Nick Hogan again there for the next night. If you guys are tired of the Hogan stuff, I don't know why you're surprised that they're paying respect to him. Michelle McCool's there. Then they get to the TLC match, but they introduce Bubba Ray and Devon, who were sitting at ringside, and Matt and Jeff Hardy, two pieces of the original TLC match from 25 years ago at SummerSlam 2000. Gee, I wonder where the other two pieces of that. Oh, they're in another company. But they also promoted the TNA Bound for Glory. They're going to have a match there, so that was very cool. And then we get into the six-way ladder match, and this was, my goodness, a car crash of a match for 16 minutes. They killed, I think, 10 tables in this match. You had Andrade doing flips all over the place. Rey Fenix put somebody through a table. We had Axiom hit a Spanish fly. I think it was on Dawkins through a table. Like Gargano and Ciampa went through like about 3 or 4 tables. Candice LeRae ate it through a ladder. This was absolute, pure, unadulterated carnage. Like, it was a fucking car wreck at the highest order, and I loved every fucking second of this. That being said, the wrong team won. The Wyatt shouldn't have won. I understand that they just won the tag team titles, but this felt like a good way to get Phoenix and Andrade, or even Fraxium, the titles. Uncle Howdy gets involved in this match. You also had Rowan get involved in this match. They take out Phoenix, and Joe Gacy ends up pulling down the tag team titles after 16 minutes. It was a really fucking entertaining match. Like, you just couldn't breathe during this match. It was just like so many spots. Like, oh, it was crazy. And I give all 12 men in this match, and also the women and the other people. There had to have been about 18 people involved in this match, it felt like. Because there was 12 guys in the match, but then you had Candice LeRae, you had Nikki Cross, you had B-Fab, you had Rowan, you had Uncle Howdy. So I think that was at least 6 more people on top of the 5 more people. So we're at 17 or 18. It feels like it's just amazing amounts of carnage in this match. I enjoyed the heck out of this. By the way, shout out to my sister for helping me count in front of me. I can't let her go on that. Yeah, great match. Then the show fell off a cliff. Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. This match went 25 minutes. 25 minutes. To me, if they would have trimmed down 5 to 10 minutes out of this match, this would have been much better in my eyes. I think it was way overproduced. It was way too long. And given what these two women have done throughout 3 matches this year, you had the match at Backlash, which Lyra won. You had the match at Money in the Bank that Becky won. Then you had the match at Evolution with Bayley integrated into it in a triple threat match, which Becky retained in. And then you get this. I understand that they wanted to make it no DQ, and they wanted to make it, no countouts. And obviously the stipulation, Lyra can't challenge for the women's Intercontinental Championship if she loses, as long as Becky is the champion. Becky got a new entrance, which I enjoyed. I do like Celtic Invasion, which was her theme song for 10 years, but she's a heel. I get it. I fully expected Bayley to get involved in this. There was zip ties in this match. There, like I said, the wrestling itself was fine, but there was a lot of weapons-based spots that didn't need to happen. Like, there was just a bunch of stuff that they just overdid. And I had a friend of mine text me literally like a few minutes before this match is over saying, Jesus, this match is still going on. When is this going to end? And I thought the same thing to myself. I was like, man, like it's a hardcore match, but man, they could have gotten to the point that they wanted to get to in 15 minutes as opposed to 25. And, they used a crowbar, which, I think it's neat that they're using crowbars. And Bailey was aiming for Becky after, like, there was teasing that Bailey was going to potentially, turn heel. But then Bailey, with a chain on her hand, smacks Lyra when she was aiming for Becky. Becky hits the manhandle slam and wins the match. The totally wrong decision, in my opinion. The completely wrong decision. If you ask me, Lyra Valkyria should have won this match. Because I don't know what this does for Lyra Valkyria now that she has lost the chance to challenge for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Is the goal to get Bailey the Women's Intercontinental Championship and beating Lyra? Like, listen, all you people complaining about Bailey not being featured on the show, she played a big role in the finish of this match. Is Lyra turning heel and joining up with Becky out of spite? Because I know she's got issues with Bailey. To me, they totally missed the boat on this match. And this could have easily been one of the best matches of the entire weekend. To me, it was one of the worst because it was overproduced, overlong. Two of the best wrestlers in this company doing a hardcore match after 12 men plus about 6 other people fucking killed it. Maybe this could have done better on night one if they flipped it with, the women's, if they flipped it with, say, the women's tag team championship match with Charlotte and Alexa. Match placement on this show was a huge issue. And it's going to be something that I'm going to have to talk about on a separate video. But they totally missed the boat on this. To me, this was one of the worst matches of the weekend. And it sucks because I love Lyra. I love Becky. This isn't going to quell the Becky Hogan speculation about things. I don't know what the end game is here. Because now you've booked yourself into a corner. Lyra can't challenge for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Now you've got Bailey involved in it again. It was all over the place. And, the zip tie spot, a lot of people are going to have fun with that. It's just like there was stuff that you didn't need to go to these lengths to have a hardcore match. It could have been just another straight wrestling match with that stipulation. So a big miss here for Triple H in my eyes. They could have done a lot better here. And like I said, 25 minutes for this match, one of the longest women's matches ever, and it felt like it. That's the worst thing that can happen in a wrestling match is when you think, hey, you're going through the match. It's like, man, this thing's still going on? I don't usually feel that way, and I did with this match. Then we go to the other extreme. Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu, steel cage match. Michael Cole said that this is the 5th steel cage match in SummerSlam history and the first in 24 years since 2001. So Daphne LeShun is the referee. Shout out to Daphne. She's a great women's referee. Everybody looks highly on Jessica Carr. Let's give some credit to Daphne LeShun, who's done a really good job on the main roster. I got to say this. So this was only 12 minutes. This was one of the most uneventful steel cage matches of all time. They barely used the cage. It was all about escaping, which one of the things that I need to say here, WWE needs to reevaluate how they do steel cage matches because I don't get how you have a stipulation where you're locking 2 guys in a cage and one of the objectives of winning the match is to leave the cage. Shouldn't it be about keeping the combatants in the ring and keeping them locked in? Because that was the whole thing about this is like, there was a jailing spot or a false accusation spot in the build to this match. And, we were expecting that I fully expected that Jacob was going to win this match and then just sort of move off of it. Or maybe, he was going to keep going with the MFTs. This thing is not working. They need to end whatever this bloodline adjacent storyline. It's not working anymore. Solo is fine. Jacob is fine. And, Jimmy Uso gets out there and, he gets taken out almost immediately. Solo spent like legitimately a couple minutes trying to get out of the cage. And, the finish of this match was just freaking flat as hell. JC Mateo unlocks the cage door, Fatu tried to free himself. Fatu was actually, locked up on top of the cage by Talatonga and broke the handcuffs. So it just, the struggle of it, like that they went way too quick off of this. It was really weird. So Solo tries to escape. Fatu stops him again, but Talatonga swings the door shut on Fatu's head. And Solo just escapes through the cage door, and the match ends. 12 minutes. Jacob Fatu loses. I get it. You're trying to protect the heel, and Jacob doesn't take a pinfall like he did at Night of Champions, but what a flat-ass finish to a steel cage that really had no emotion, no real heat to it, even though there was somewhat of a blood feud here. This was such a flat match. I don't know how you could have a steel cage match feel this insignificant. And so, after the match, Jimmy Uso gets back in the fray, super kicks to JC Mateo, threw him inside of the ring. Tonga Loa is in there, and Jacob Fatu does a moonsault off the top of the cage onto JC Mateo and Tonga Loa, and that closes the segment. So, hey, I guess, Jacob gets his heat back. I didn't like this at all. To me, this was the biggest disappointment, the worst match the whole weekend. And to be honest with you, given like the stakes of it, one of the worst PLE matches of the entire year. This was bad. This was not good at all. And considering the people that they had in this match, wrong finish, the stipulation didn't work, didn't mesh with anything, didn't play into anything. It was a flat ending. And then, hey, you just give the baby faces their heat back after the match, which I thought the point of this was, okay, Jacob's going to do something crazy off the cage during the match. Instead, he did it after the match. I didn't get this at all. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. That was really disappointing. So then we get Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles for the Intercontinental title. This definitely picked things up. AJ Styles comes out in a lowrider with his son, which was hilarious, by the way. 20 years since Dominic's PLE pay-per-view debut in the I'm Your Poppy match. Dom and Ray, Ray and Eddie in that ladder match. So this was great. A bunch of spots in this that were just a callback to some of Eddie's greatest hits. The turnbuckle pad gets thrown to the outside. The referee, Eddie Orengo, it's fitting that Eddie Orengo, in a match based off Eddie. I don't know if that was their plan, but that seems to be Pat McAfee's favorite referee. Pat McAfee's just disappeared off the face of the earth. So Dom gets a chair, comes in, slams the chair on the mat, feigning the whole lying, cheating, stealing thing. He tosses it to AJ. AJ then puts it across his neck and falls to the ground. And it was a great tribute spot. Styles puts Dom in the calf crusher, but Dom's boot falls off. They showed this after the match. Dom actually intentionally unzipped his boot. Referee, it was kind of a ref bump, but he was distracted. Dom hits AJ with the boot itself. He goes up, hits a frolic splash, gets a 3 count. No Judgment Day, no Liv Morgan like everybody expected. This was only 10 minutes, but given the other 2 matches that I talked about, this was in 10 minutes. They did a much better job than Becky and Lyra did in 25, and then Solo and Jacob did in about 12. This was a much better match. I fully expected, I expected Dom to win. Also, the fun thing to notice about this before the main event, all heels won. All heels won, which was certainly a choice. But all the comebacks, the callbacks to Eddie Guerrero, this was like a love letter to Eddie Guerrero. It was fucking wonderful. I loved this. AJ's fantastic with his tights, the low rider, Dom with the boot spot, and then obviously the chair spot. It was great. Like, this was awesome. I enjoyed the shit out of this. Then we get the main event, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, street fight for the WWE Championship. John Cena, like the story of this. So Cody gets a little special entrance for himself with his typical helmet, gets cheered initially, but then he gets booed because what happens next? John Cena comes out, Black Titantron, and then once the crescendo for a song, You see the colors. The real John Cena is back, everybody. This was awesome. The crowd goes fucking ape shit. He's talking to Stu. He's wearing the championship the correct way. Runs down to the ring, does his signature entrance. It was awesome. This is everything that you wanted to see from John Cena to begin with. And then what happened is, like, this was a very long match, but unlike the Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch match itself, this match never felt like it was running too long. John Cena did an incredible job of engaging the crowd. Cody Rhodes having that killer instinct despite not being a heel. This was great, man. Like, this was like 6-7 minutes into this match, I was like, this is already better than WrestleMania 41 in that main event. Where the fuck was this? No gimmicks, no bullshit leading into this. It was just the two biggest baby faces, the biggest baby face of yesteryear and the current biggest baby face in WWE, just beating the ever-living shit out of each other in a main event street fight. And this was everything that you loved about John Cena. We had table bumps. John Cena chucked the base of the steps at Cody, which looked nasty. You had top rope AAs. Cody hit 3 crossroads in a row, and Cena still kicked out. John Cena hit top rope AA through a table. Cody still kicked out. It was a top rope. They didn't hit the top rope AA, but the finish of this match was Cody, when John was going for the top rope AA again. By the way, also Cody took apart the bottom rope and used the turnbuckle itself as a weapon, which you don't usually see. Cody actually busted out a fucking pile driver in this match, which doesn't usually happen. So that was interesting. Everybody was waiting for a heel turn, and it didn't happen. Finish of this match happens where Cody hits a Cody cutter off the top rope through the Slim Jim table. Man, the amount of tables that were destroyed during this entire, there was also an announce table spot. Like, there was so many fucking tables. Like, they're gonna have to call a fucking hardware store to build more tables, because it was certainly a night where a lot of things got fucking obliterated. But yeah, like I said, Cody hits the Cody cutter through the table, hits a crossroads, pins him, and the match ends. And Cody Rhodes and John Cena have an emotional moment, and they called back to Rock and Cena. So there's your Rock reference, where it's a passing of the torch moment. They reference WrestleMania 29, where John Cena beat Rock to get really the passing of the torch. It was a handshake moment there, and then Cody leaves the ring, he leaves the ring to Cena out of respect. Cena's enjoying the adulation of the crowd, and all of a sudden, Brock Lesnar's music hits. Holy shit, it's the Beast. Cowboy Brock is back. I have a separate video up about this. Brock power walks his way down to the ring. Then he ultimately, like, the inevitable happens. Brock gets in the ring, F5's John Cena. That's the end of it. John Cena then, starts walking out of the arena to close the show. And this was an ending I did not expect. Everybody was expecting a heel turn from Cody or John Cena, and instead we get Brock Lesnar back. So you can be mad about how it ended your way, but the reality of the situation is this. This was infinitely better. No gimmicks, no bullshit, none of the selling your soul stuff. It was just two baby faces beating the crap out of each other for 35 minutes, and it felt like a main event. It felt like vintage John Cena. John was in his bag tonight. This was everything that we wanted to see from John Cena on this retirement tour. This was the best match by far. And I actually, the Randy match had a lot of bullshit in it, but the Randy match was fun. A lot of gimmicks to it. The Punk match, way too much interference for my taste. This was no bullshit. These guys just beating the crap out of each other. Bunch of gimmick stuff, and it worked. For God's sake, they used the Cody Vader for John Cena to set up an AA on the ramp after they brawled out to the crowd. Like, this was awesome. I really enjoyed this. And as I said on my other video, this was a giant middle finger. And, it was a giant middle finger to, The Rock. And basically, they tried to undo everything. So yeah, that's SummerSlam Sunday. When it was good, it was good. When it was bad, like I said, those middle two matches, it got really bad. two of the worst matches that I've seen this year on premium live events. So we'll see where this goes moving forward. John Cena's only got 4 months left of his retirement tour. I think he's going to be at Clash in Paris. Is Brock Lesnar there? Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.